Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Fanalysis, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I am Roti4, this is GreyJedi91,
Hello.
and this is Antoine Bandelet.
Be water, my friends.
Take us away with the summary, Matt.
Okay, this is Book 2, Episode 3, Return to Omashu. Aang and his gang return to Omashu, which is now under the control of the Fire Nation, and they're dealing with that because that really throws a wrench into their plans. And alongside, Zuko's not in this episode, but the B story features Azula, and she's going around gathering up her crew, like that it's going to be causing problems and mayhem throughout the rest of this season. Her friends, May and Ty Lee. So that's basically what this episode is. So let's get into it.
The small elite team. I still love that line. Such a simple line, but for some reason when Azula says it, it just makes it so much cooler.
No. For me, it never had that same effect on me.
It was like I don't know, maybe it's all the AMVs
like,
it's part of.
It was, you know why? It was drilled into everyone's head before the season even premiered, because that was like the promotional commercial was like this like angry girl who needed a small elite team. It was like in every season on Avatar.
What?
Yeah. But that's what that was.
But yeah, they arrive. We get the continuation of the ending scene from the previous episode where they're fully registering what has happened with Omashu having fallen. And Aang, resolves to go and find his friend, which I like. That's the focus. It's not about him getting an earthbending teacher. It's like, no, I need to go find my friend because it's the perfect.
Because that was his friend. Yeah.
I guess it's the only one he really has left in the world. Like,
right.
Kind of, yeah. Well, no, definitely, yeah. Apart from Apple, obviously.
Yeah. So it makes total sense that he's driven by that, and that's a very Aang thing to do, which is nice.
Yeah. And the secret sewer entrance is like, why didn't we use this last time? And it's like, does that answer your question? I love that as a reason.
That comes up. Yeah, because like if that didn't come up, then that would be like for like the internet nerds 10 years later go, hey, wait, how come they didn't like us? Like how come they didn't use that like last time? It's like they thought about that. They thought they were very prescient at that point.
Yeah,
they anticipated.
They almost always are. And I love that kind of thing. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense as well. Does that answer your question? That's why.
Yeah.
And poor Sokka getting the short shrift again. Like they're just airbending and waterbending out the way, and
he's just getting splashed.
Like, at this point, especially like with Katara, she could have done a much better job helping him out.
Yep.
I know, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I mean, isn't there a point in book 3 where she like she has like a whole bubble and they all are able to walk under?
Yeah, they do that this season.
They do that this season. Moses out of her ass.
Yeah, that's
there's Moses.
Serpent's Pass in this series. So yeah, it's well within her power at this point. But so they go through there. We have the establishment of the what is it called? Pentapox is the name of the illness.
Pentapus.
Yeah.
Pentapus.
Which
what's that combination of octopus and what else?
I don't know. I was questioning that myself.
I don't know what the other second thing is.
Well, penta means a number, right?
Yeah.
So 5. It's just like referring to like the number of. So it has 5 tentacles.
Yeah,
I think that's all. I
guess. Yeah,
I don't think it's. I don't think it's.
Yeah,
really...
of course. Yeah, instead of an octopus, duh. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah.
I don't think it's really like a combination animal. It's just like a fictional animal,
Right. Which they do sometimes. Actually, it's worth noting. It's not always just combination.
Rarely.
Yeah.
But like to me, pentapus sounds like an Indian dish, or like that belongs like on a menu or something. I'll have the pentapus, please. Like I don't know. Like, that just sounds kind of like interesting, like a meal to me.
Yeah.
But pentapus sounds horrible there.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's a nice name for the illness, which I like is that it's set up here. It wasn't like this big contrived plot thing. It was just accidental incident that comes up.
I just realized they have to get into this place like the same way in both seasons, like a stupid lie. Like Aang dressed up like a stupid old man like last time, and this time Sokka had to be got pentapox. So it's like it's never just like a welcome to Omashu situation, no matter what.
Yeah, and it was the weird alien theme in the background as well when he goes into like zombie mode, which I found funny. It was very reminiscent of certain shows. But that's the setup of them as they enter Omashu, and then we cut to Azula with the on the ship with the twins, and this obviously is the small elite team moment, which I just again I love it. I don't know why. It's just like whether it be the adverts, whether it be all of the AMVs I watched back in the day. It's just a really cool line, and it's a nice setup for her as well because the twins, being that weird, doing that weird synchronized talking speech thing.
I kind of wish they'd been featured a little bit more because it does seem like they initially came along to counsel her, but it's like, why did she value their counsel? I can totally buy that she values them, but we don't know what the relationship is because we don't know who they are really. Like we have really no idea what their function is within her entourage.
Sages or like who are they?
To the point that they just become announcers later on. Right.
Yeah. And also they have a beach house.
Yeah.
So like they don't know why they're there. I would like, or we don't know why they're there, but I would like to know. Like so they're interesting characters in that way. Mm-hmm.
But she decides that and sets out to find her smaller team.
Well, and also the whole thing is that she needs to be more covert. That's the reason why she's friends, because she has this whole like royal procession with her, and it's like, oh, we can be seen from a mile away whenever we're trying to do the chasing of Iroh or Zuko, and going forward, Aang.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it also helps narrow down the cast for it. We don't have to worry about this entire army of troops following them around. So yeah, it works on both levels, narrative and in the universe.
It's also an excuse to have like teenagers deciding the fate of everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the theme of this,
it's a middle grade show.
Yeah, we've said before that they do that very well. Given the kind of the ridiculousness of the premise in general, this show has always executed that well. If nothing else, for the competence of the characters.
Yeah, it does feel to me that like the irony is what would have happened if Ozai just said, "I'll just do it myself." Like at this stage, it's like you don't want to meet him right now, Aang. Like I know you could maybe pop something off if you go into Avatar state, but otherwise you're fucked. It's just funny.
But yeah, we get the gang start searching for Bumi, looking around the city and kind of doing his all. I love the he does it all the time, obviously, but it stood out to me in this episode for whatever reason when he's leaping with the airbending jumps. I love when he does that. It's so cool. The kind of wind effect beneath the robes as he leaps up never gets old for me.
Yeah, that's getting into Korra. That's one of the things I loved about Tenzin in his outfit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we get introduced to the governor's family, who are connected.
I kind of forgot like these characters existed. Like this is the intro to May, and she's like the one that is important, like going forward. And I was saying this to Callan yesterday that I, even knowing what I know, based on like this introduction, I kind of expect her to grow into a more interesting character, even though I know she doesn't. Like this is a pretty good intro for her. It establishes a lot about her personality and all that. But like her family, I forgot they were a thing, and they're like kind of the point of this episode in a way.
Right.
Well, even she has this kind of detachment from them, which kind of makes sense for her character. But I think that's the part of the problem. She's not a bad character. She's just not really fleshed out by the nature of her personality. She was deliberately bland, and I think that was probably a mistake. If they wanted to go that route, they needed to give her more time, which they couldn't really afford to do. So in my opinion, they should have just had her given her a different, or at least a more defined personality outside of the I'll
address my thoughts on that toward the end, because there's a specific moment that I found a little confusing, but we'll get into that when we get into that. That's like at the end.
I love her opening line though, because it's perfect for her with the. There really is no fathoming the depths of my hatred for this place. It's like, yep, that's May. If you had to cement a character in one line,
and then when she gets with Zuko, I don't hate you. I don't hate you either.
Yeah,
I have to say,
I'm actually fine with May, just to put it out there, because I know you guys put your opinions out there about like, I have no issues.
Oh yeah, I don't have any problem.
I don't need her to be any more than what she is.
Yeah, no, it's not an issue. It's just I
need her to be
weak. The weaker example.
Like, if there's going to be any like possibility that she could be like a fan favorite character, I would need more than what we actually get. That's my way of putting it. But I picked her as like worse. Favorite character? No, that's my point. It's like no one cares about it. That's what I'm saying. Is like she's like worst character by default, even though she's not terrible. Yeah, I just feel like she definitely better.
She's not a bad character by any means. It's just she's one of the worst out of the main group of leads. Even though she has more to do than Ty Lee, Ty Lee's much more appreciated as a character. But we'll get into her when she comes up. Good introduction for her though, and a great display of her skills, because obviously each character of the small elite team has a defined skill set, particularly from the fact that the two of them aren't benders. And the resistance attacks. Aang accidentally saves one of his enemies. Fight ensues, and
Well, and also that's just Aang too. That's his like, oh, I see someone in danger. Yes, like, I don't care if they're Fire Nation. They're in danger.
Yeah, which is important because it's a slight setup for what happens at the end of the episode, which is nice. But the resistance saved them.
The whole sequence with Ty Lee, like, why did she join Azula?
because she knows if she doesn't, it's going to go very bad for her.
Like she, I just felt like she was so joyful about it too. Like her personality's reaction to it was like weird.
All right, never mind. I guess I'll talk about it now. I was going to talk about all this at the end later on, but the episode sort of sets up the idea, and like this is clearly supposed to be what's actually going on, but it's unclear to what extent, that Azula is manipulating. Azula shows up and asks for something, and then when it's denied, she Azulas her way into getting it anyway. And it's initially clear that it's made clear to us that Ty Lee understands this about Azula, because she has these misgivings about just knowing Azula's going to be coming to the show.
Yeah,
she looks like, ooh, don't like that.
I love the way she tenses up. Like you can physically see her tensing, which it really strikes out considering her flexibility. It's like a nice little shift in animation and posture. I love that. Just this mere suggestion that Azula's going to be attending. She's like, oh, yeah. Okay.
And Ty Lee is very much the Avatar equivalent of the Airhead Valley Girl, okay? But even she is not blind to what Azula's doing. She knows exactly what Azula's doing, or at least it seems she does. But like Antoine just said, when she actually does finally like join up with Azula, she doesn't seem to have very many qualms about it, and that's why I find like the inconsistent aspect here. I think maybe they're trying not to telegraph too much that these two, like their loyalty to Azula only goes so far, but it's a little flip-floppy. In the same way with May, they just never really established that. But I guess I can talk about that one later with the scene at the end, because it comes up for me there.
It's not really a flaw in the fact that it distracts from anything for me, but it's definitely an inconsistency, like you say. She should have had more moments post this episode where she's like, Azula, I'm not happy with being here particularly. Because she does kind of gleefully go through everything as though, well, these are the cards I've been dealt. I'm just going to deal with it, which could be done well for the character, but we never see any kind of definition for that.
Right, but it's not in the way that makes sense to me. Like, for her to be so joyful about it and be like, yeah, Azula just Azula'd her way into my life, and it's like, what? I would think you'd be a little bit more like flat about it.
It also doesn't come up again, until. Well, even then, it doesn't really come up for discussion, but until like the moment in book 3 that I'm talking about. It just isn't. It isn't a part of Ty Lee's character, really.
There isn't too much to her character as well, which is a problem. Like her and it's more obvious with May, even though she has more to do because of her personality. But Ty Lee is basically just background dressing when it comes to her relevance to the plot. She is an instrument of various different narrative points. She doesn't really have it. You can't think of any Ty Lee character scenes off the top of your head. Which I think is a bit of a flaw. But to be fair, they have only so much time to apportion out, and there are a lot of characters in the main groups on both sides. So
I'm not saying that like this episode did it all wrong, but I think like they could have done more starting here and carried it forward. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Like throughout that point, basically.
It's
just ironic.
Ironic that.
It's just I say it's a little ironic that I generally prefer Ty Lee's personality to May's. I find her more engaging on screen, even though she has less to do even than May does. May has stuff to do later, where Ty Lee doesn't. That's all I was gonna say.
Love her introduction though. Like the whole the entire scene was really dramatically played out well. I love, like I said, the tense when she tenses up in the face of Azula's attendance is really cool. I love the nothing had to be said then. It was a really good moment. But we get the Resistance updating the gang back in the city. What is happening, or rather what hasn't happened with the Omashu defense.
Right.
Is there only 12 people here? Because like they're Resistance.
Please no.
All right. That's my horrible joke for the day. But I do like that these guys who are like the people being pushed around and like the underdogs and the protagonists in this episode were the ones trying to take out a family in their previous scene. I like that because that's war, and even though this is a kids show, it went there. I enjoy that because there was a baby. Don't forget, like they were attacking the whole family, the whole governing family, including the baby.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been explored a little bit more in this moment for me. Obviously, they couldn't spend too much time on it because it's a kids' show. It would be dark.
Though.
Precisely,
that would have had to been the whole point.
It was just. It was nice to see it, even though it was background. They did just enough where it's in the back of your mind as you're watching, which I like. It wasn't just an accident that happened on plot. We didn't really think about this.
It would be another Jet episode.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Yeah, and I'm not saying the difference should go on for that, but just a little bit more could have been fleshed out, even if it's just like a reaction shot from the kids or something looking at him and like, "Do you realize what you're doing?" And then moving on from that. But I like what we did get, and we get the explanation by him of the fact that Boomy didn't defend the city and they just stood down and let the Fire Nation roll in.
Well, we all know that this is what you want to talk about. So
well, I mean, we can do it now. We can do it when we get to the neutral Jing thing. It's up to you guys.
Okay. I mean.
Either way, let's just say for now, I have problems with this this response from Boomy.
Well, his grand plan is it always? Well, it seems like even when in season 3, when he does release himself, that it seems like he's like, oh, this seems like a good time.
He literally says, "Oh, Eclipse, that'll do it."
right. What? Instead of it being like an active plan of his, like, what is the waiting and listening that you're doing? And at least can you explain that to us instead of just like, I'm just waiting and doing nothing.
It's really stupid and completely irresponsible. He has a city to protect. He's got duties to perform. You can't just throw it out the window.
The thing is, Omashu seems perfectly suited to like withstanding the Fire Nation's siege.
It did.
Yeah, so
for eons.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, let's be honest. They had to get Boomy out of the picture for this season, and that's the way that they did it. Like this is where you see the writer's hand. Like for me, like that's the way I put it.
Well, why not? I mean, okay, here's the thing: if you want him out of the way, you can still have him imprisoned, but you just have it be that he went down fighting instead of it being like, unless they just wanted the goofy aspect and be like, yeah, let's make it that he just doesn't want to do anything.
Oh, I'm not saying that they did it the right way.
They could have had Omashu like as a bastion, holding on and still surviving. But the problem is, then there's no reason Aang couldn't stay in the city and learn from Boomy.
Literally, guys, Boomy, all he had to say was, "Aang, I can't come with you. I got a city to defend." Like that's all he had to do.
But then why didn't Aang just stay in Omashu? Though that's the thing. That's the problem with it.
Why? Well, because that would have been
protected and help.
Have been super boring.
Oh no, of course, but I'm saying in universe wise, they need to have some sort of reason. They didn't just have an off-camera set of time like they did in the North.
I have a hard enough time with you. If they find out that I'm holding the Avatar, I'll have to put up with all of their forces. I don't have that kind of strength.
That's
you
true.
Must go.
That would work. Works. Yeah, but I have no problem with that concept. It's just that was probably why they steered clear of it. Yeah, no, it's just the whole idea of him not doing anything is annoying. The show is about teenagers and kids, and like they have this Toph character that we're gonna get. So it's like Boomy can't be a part of this, and like we have to have him busy. Yeah. So this is the way I just don't like. This is the way they went for it.
Yeah, neither. I'm just telling you, this is why they did it.
Yeah, it's a shame that they were forced to all have their hand forced this way. They could have done something better than this.
Themselves into a corner, like even though they weren't technically in a corner, because they could have written themselves out of it. But deadlines, and shit.
Yeah, I mean deadlines do that. Yeah, that's true. They're good because they get you to actually produce content, but sometimes it means you have to do choices that you might not have in retrospect have done. With TV, especially because TV has strict deadlines. But Sokka comes up with a plan with suckers. And they're like, "What are you talking about with suckers?" But he means the pentapusses or whatever they're freaking called for the sun, because they're trying to figure out how to get the refugees out. Pentapai, to get the refugees out of Omashu. So they say, "Oh, let's make them all sickly and then be zombies," basically, which is really terrifying because if you think about an older time like this, like disease is like one of the more scary things besides just like an actual siege or someone with like wielding swords or whatever. Like that is what will get someone's attention.
Yeah,
Azula's not wrong to call him an idiot for this later on, but yeah, it's a perfectly reasonable reaction if you've just had a massive outbreak. Get them out of the city now. If you're a panicking governor, I completely buy this, even if it is a bit ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know why they want the people there anyway, though. Like, so
unless they're making them work or something.
Industry, they're clearly converting Omashu into some sort of.
But if everybody has plague, I mean.
Oh yeah, of course,
get rid of them, or like set fire to their homes and burn it. Like, I mean, I don't know what if that happened to me and I was governor, I don't know what I would do. I'd make a terrible call too. Like, it's just rife for bad call making.
I love the little moment as well with the old man. He's like, this guy gets it, and he's like, years of practice.
He fits.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that was a funny moment. Another old man walks into scene.
Yeah, but that's okay because he didn't come with the plot, and they did not meet him in the woods.
Yes,
so he doesn't.
No, he doesn't count. He doesn't.
True.
Yeah, he doesn't count towards the counter. Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah, the governor orders the people out of the city, and at the same time, the baby is escaping, because Momo.
Right.
This is a ninja baby.
Yeah. I didn't really. This one, I know it's a cartoon and all that. This wasn't horrible, but it did like. Like, wow, that's a lucky ass baby. Like, that baby didn't get hurt at all. Like that.
Also, it teleports. It goes from underneath the table, and in the time moment it takes for a moment to fly onto the balcony edge, he's just teleported behind him. So he's clearly an ninja.
That's just edited. Like the fact that it falls in the chutes and is dragged by Momo everywhere, and is totally like this baby has like, I guess plot diapers instead of plot armor.
Diapers.
Yeah, that baby is very lucky.
It's a Rugrats baby, man. That's totally what every Rugrats
Jack.
I do like
or Jack.
But the
without
thing
powers.
the thing is though that the Rugrats were genius babies. They were like
they really are.
Like, yeah.
So, except for when they get older, because there's an older version of them, and there's regular.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Like that was a major.
Maybe we'll finalize that guy sometime.
It wasn't even a disappointment. It was just like, why are you doing this? Don't do that. That's terrible. Like I was like against that. That was my Korra.
We have Doug for that.
But yeah, that they the baby joins the refugees and heads out the city, unwittingly following Momo.
Yeah,
and
then we get
Ang using Flopsy.
And Flopsy and getting to Boomy again.
Freezes him out and tries to find him. And that we'll have a jump cut from there to later in a second, but I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, then we have the tidy performance, as we said. But I love the aesthetic of the circus in there. I know it's a bit generic, but I like the Fire Nation touches to it. And also Azula. Azula, again, is just deliciously evil here.
I don't. I just think she's a brat in this. But
don't get me wrong. She's very bratty.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Yeah. But it's just the way they flavour it with Azula in mind. It always works.
I find her most charming during the beach episode. Otherwise, I do see her just being like, you're just... terrible.
I'm so happy that I'm not the only one who thinks this, because like Azula is the most ass-kissed character in this whole series. Like people love their Azula, and like I love her. I love to hate her, but like I genuinely do hate her sometimes. She's terrible.
I'm not saying I like her. I'm just saying that I enjoy her evilness. The way
people enjoy her, the way that they enjoy like Sidious, though. Like there's people that really get their rocks off with like Azula-ness, and like I just don't enjoy her.
Because with Sidious, like I love him. Mostly Return of the Jedi.
It doesn't get more over the top evil than Sidious. He is the benchmark.
Right. But more so in the prequels. He gets more cartoony. And in Return of the Jedi, he's a little bit more like not subdued, but like more like not crazy.
He hasn't had as much time to develop at that point.
I'm fine with him even being the way he is. Like, but it's the fact that he's some people's like genuine favorite character. Where it's like, you like this guy? You want to be like that? What planet are you on? But yeah. No, like she is terrible.
For me, it's because like this is
the closest.
Sorry, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but just her voice, like that moment. That's why she, even though she's being bratty and stupid and annoying, in that moment, it's the way she revels it in the voice.
Yeah, she makes that character a great Delisle does. I don't know. I think she got married. I think her name's different, but the voice actress is like, she is like the reason why Azula is so loved. I think. Yeah. Main reason. She's very good. Even though she just always kind of sounds the same, like she's Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents and things like that. But I side a little bit more with Antoine in that moment. I like Azula's evil sometimes, but not that time.
Oh, cool! I thought I was gonna be alone. I'm like, oh, here I go. I'm gonna be the one disparaging her.
I'm an Azula critic sometimes.
Yeah, skeptic.
Yeah.
Again, like,
but I already did that. I already said she made some tactical errors in like the last episode, so that's fine.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. She's by no means perfect. That's one of the reasons I like her. Is that she's flawed.
Oh, and next thing we get the introduction of the Hawk, which was used with Sparky Moon Man, the messenger. The messenger bar. Well, it's when the governor sends a message saying like, "Hey, you have our kid. Can you give him back, please?" Even though they didn't actually kidnap him. It was just that he found his way with the zombies.
Because when he had that moment, he was all, "They've soaked the
craft.
I know. They've stolen my son." Like, no, you just left the window open.
Yeah,
right.
And
it's the way he says it.
Why is this guy the governor? Like, is he like Ozai's best friend from college or something? It's just like, yeah, you can have the governorship of this town I don't care about. Like you're clearly incompetent. Yeah, like, what?
It's clearly a position given to him because of his status, not his competence. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that Aang teleports. Like, how did Aang and Flopsy get out the city?
Oh yeah, they do a little teleporting, don't they?
I could buy easily, just literally just jump over the side. But Flopsy is like odd, a minor thing, but I noticed it at the time.
Because I mean, we do see them running away, but we just don't see where they run to. I don't think.
Yeah, he goes off searching, and the next time we see him, he's outside the city, arriving with the refugees. But yeah, they realise that they've got an extra amongst them, and obviously the governor has that realisation. I like that he suggests the prisoner swap, though. That's a very parent thing to do in that moment, which helps sell him and his wife's shtick for this episode. Because pretty much all they are, they're what concerned parents.
I'm having not seen this episode in so long, I forgot that Azula later raises the question, but I was like, this is like not militarily sound at all. But like, I'm glad that it does.
Baby exchanged for your freaking king.
and like Boomy, who like apparently is the most powerful, other than Toph, he is like the most powerful Earthbender of this time. It's like, I mean, come on, like really? Like if Ozai heard about that, he'd be like, what? Why? what have you done? Yeah.
Yeah, but we get the before Azula arrives, we have her kind of Tylee accepting her offer in the changing room of the circus. Is like, I'm getting some strong vibes that this is something I should be doing right now.
Accepting her offer or caving into the threat.
Yeah,
but I wish I had been a little bit more clear, like I said, because it does seem that that's the only reason.
I like the subtlety. I know you're not disagreeing with this. I like the subtlety of her kind of going, oh, I'm getting some major vibes that she's not actively saying it. She does try and play it off as Tylee-ness, but it should have been defined more.
Azula should buy it in the scene, but we should see something like after
from Tylee.
Going like
it should have been brought up again moving forward. Definitely, it's a shame it wasn't. But at least we got this much.
At the same time, I like that it does come out of nowhere where she does betray Azula out of loyalty for May. But and that would have been a little bit obvious if it or a little bit more obvious if they built this up. But it is like this thing that's just not quite consistent. It's like I'm in two minds. I would probably just rewrite this storyline if it was up to me somehow, to make these moments work for me. But that's a different conversation.
And then we have the interaction with the baby by the gang, and when they're talking about, well, you're cute now, but when he grows up, he'll be a Fire Nation soldier.
I mean, it's kind of random to single out this baby. I guess it's the first Fire Nation baby thing that they meet. I don't know why they care about this now, because like the war. Say he does. Don't have to worry about him for 15 years. Forget about it.
Yeah, of course. But it was
trying to survive the war, dude. Like, who gives a shit about this baby? He's not even a bender, as far as I know.
It was just a side point, wasn't it? That was addressing the episode. What I do like though is there was a surprisingly when Katara holds up the baby, because Dozi's was like the face of a killer. There was a surprisingly deep look on the general's face or captain's face, whatever it is, for me. That moment, he was like, yeah,
she doesn't grow out of that. She doesn't grow out of that either, because even when they go to the Fire Nation's first family's like place, and they find the picture of Ozai, and she thinks it's cute baby Zuko, and she's like, he's like, even after he goes, that's my father. She goes, but he's so cute and sweet and lovable.
And she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
You can nurture that kind of person into.
And she's not wrong about the baby necessarily. It's just that the captain's face, you can see, he's seen some shit, and he gets the real nature of the war. Yeah, but it's just a small moment, but it's surprisingly deep for just that single frame that he gets. I hadn't remembered that one when we watched it. Took me by surprise
because he is down to earth.
God, he's grounded.
You just on the one was enough. You just took it too far. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
no one's going to be shaking the foundations with these puns.
Right, you're officially crossed the line. Moving forward,
drawing a line in the sand. Moving
forward.
We get the prep for the exchange. The gang get ready to set out. Aang gets the feeling this is going to be a good day. Which kind of goes nowhere.
Wrong,
it kind of goes nowhere. Because that's funny. I love the check. It was a joke. It was a joke because it cuts immediately to Azula arriving. Like,
I get that it's a joke, but it's not when he's confronted by the reality of he doesn't know who Azula. Even after this, he has no idea who Azula is. Like he doesn't really put that together until the chase, and she puts it together for him, which is hilarious. But no, it's like the strength of the voice acting and like sort of the poignancy with which the voice actor who does Aang is like, I got a good feeling about this. Today's a new day, and it is like, but it's not though. it's really not Aang. Like it's just funny how he's like blindly optimistic, but that's Aang.
Yeah, it's why the moment works for me though. The fact that they do play it off as this kind of big dramatic moment. In any other episode, that would be poignant and that would be relevant. But it's such a non-thing at the moment. It comes out of nowhere and it has nothing to do with anything.
It's the fact he has literally no reason to think that. That I just like, you're just like so nice, and this world isn't for you, or like war isn't for you. Yeah.
But Azula arrives though with to the tune of the epic Fire Nation music, and recruits May. Who's a lot more
it's like in this
than Ty Lee.
This makes a lot more sense to me because she doesn't want to be where she is anyway, so she doesn't really have to be like bullied into doing this, whereas Ty Lee was perfectly happy at the circus. So this I buy more. What's odd to me is what happens when they actually have the baby swap meet, right? Because it's not clear to me even now whether May genuinely agrees with Azula that her brother isn't worth the trade, or if she's playing the long game.
I forgot that's her brother.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
she's completely detached from the family. Like when the parents are getting bullied as well before we get to the exchange.
It's like we talked about like how Ty Lee is aware of like what Azula's doing, like in the bullying thing, and going, okay, well, the universe and like that's just like lip service, like to make it seem like she wants to be here when she clearly doesn't. I don't know that May doesn't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. Like that could be a very smart play. Like, I love my brother, but I need to make it look like I'm going along with what Azula is saying, or I don't give a shit about my brother. It could be either. I really don't know.
For everything we know about May, it's the former, but there's nothing saying that on screen. You know, there needs to be more defining that and making it very real, because you're right, it could be 50-50 at this point. And the question's never really answered because of her attachment to her family. The only moment we get of even the slightest bit of compassion, which could easily just be like, please deal with yourself, is when she hands the handkerchief off to the mother. So that's it. There's nothing else for her connection to the parents at this point, or her brother. Because Azula takes command of the city and renames it New Ozai, and basically you're doing a terrible job, Governor. Get out of the way, and she's fine with that. May's just sat there, okay, this is all good. Doesn't even have like a single moment of what her thought processes are and how she's registering all of this. She just kind of goes along with it, which it would be fine in terms of her outward appearance. That's very May. It's just we don't know what she's actually thinking on the inside, how this is emotionally affecting her, if at all.
I think it would have been less confusing if they'd gotten the baby back and then just reneged on the deal and like tried to get Boomy out of the thing. Because that would have been, okay, I've got what I want and you can't have what you came here for, which is cliche and predictable. But so is this, and like it just has the added confusion that I can't tell if she's affected by declining to take her brother, and it's to the point where he belongs with them, but like the like Aang's squad is trying to protect the baby from them, which they're not really trying to hurt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
it's a bit confused as a scene.
Yeah, it's confused. Yeah, like they know what they want. They want to have the moment at the end where Aang returns the baby, right? Because Aang, but maybe that's not the moment they should be riding around.
It should have been more of a focus on May and Ty Lee here. This is supposed to be their introduction episode. Needed less focus on Aang and the gang in this one for me. Outside of the very specific Boomy moments, of course.
But those are my criticisms of the episode. Pretty much complete. We can get actually into like the substance of what happens here if we want.
Well, the prisoner exchange happens and goes about as well as you'd expect, because with Azula present, she's like, you know what?
Azula's introduction.
This isn't really worth it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, the opening and the fight, because there's so many little beats we need to talk about with this one. I love that her reaction when he leaps over, because she doesn't know it's Aang at this point. So, because as you said before off screen, May is a terrible informant. She should probably know that this is Aang.
Yeah.
This is the Airbender.
I mean,
it's ambiguous, I know, but
yeah, when I rewatched this scene, she might just think he's an earthbender, and somehow quaked that scaffolding to the ground rather than blew it down.
Because he slams his staff on the ground. That's what I said before, but it is unclear. Like you were right to mention that she should maybe have an inkling. Yeah, it's not. It was dark and she was fighting in the moment.
Well, and also the case of his robes. Like I don't feel like those. Like we don't see anyone else wearing those ever. So someone should automatically be like, "Oh, robes." Yeah. Air nomad.
Yeah. If nothing else, the staff as well. It's very clearly not a normal staff.
Yeah, he's not like, hey, Azula, there's a bald kid who, like, I think is an airbender. He's the avatar. Or, like, there's nothing like that. Like, she's just like, yeah, let's go meet them and get my brother back and fake to, like, trade with Boomy. She's bad informant.
Yeah, but independent of that, Azula's reaction when she's genuinely surprised. She's not this perfect, always in control, flawless character. I like this when she has these moments and she's like, "Whoa, what?" And then he's with the air leap that he's doing over her. Very cool.
You'll actually see those a fair few times, like throughout the season, more than you would expect for the kind of flawless reputation she has.
More often than Zuko laughs. That's for sure.
Yeah, which is like I think we're done with that for like the whole season or the whole series. I think he chuckles once in season 3, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Unless when he goes for that weird like happy phase, I don't think he laughs then, but he might do.
No, he doesn't laugh then. He's just
weirdly
happy.
smiley.
I'm actually okay with that. I know that you have issues with that, but we'll discuss that when
we get there.
Time.
It's one of those things that I have a lot to say about that one. But the other thing I love about the scene, or the next thing I should say, because there are many of them, Aang's freeze breath. That's pretty much the only time you see that in the show. Like obviously people freeze things all the time, but it's rarely just literally blowing on it.
I'm glad that you don't see it more. Number one, I hate that power of Superman's. I already brought that up. Like a different, I think it's frost breath and like super lung capacity is retarded. There's no reason to use it. Like when you could just expediently do so many other things. Like the only time that you have is to get like the condensation, like to do something like this. So it makes sense that it's so rarely seen.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just like the fact that it's one of those unique abilities. I definitely don't want him to be using it, as freeze breath instead of water bending it properly. But because there's no water present, he's making do with what he has. It's a creative use, and I like it. And Boomy's reaction as well. I was like, Aang, stop your blowing for a second. I need to talk to you.
Yeah, I was thinking when he said that, like, if you had a 12-year-old boy and an old man and you couldn't see them and all you heard was that sentence, that is horrific, like out of context. But anyway, I need to take it there. But
and I love the fact that Aang is completely not thinking about what's about to happen as well. Aang, you're up in the air with a giant metal coffin. Maybe don't just drop him.
He's Aang. He can deal with like situations like that. That's fine.
I mean, he does with his awesome orb blast. I love that ability when he does it. He doesn't do that enough. But yeah, the fight happens. I love this fight. Very engaging action. Katara's whipping of the planks
how
up
did
to
she
block
suspend the wooden planks like in the middle of like the air for like 10 minutes?
Well, it was a slow-mo kind of blast shot, and I love the action and the
You ruined all my jokes by taking them super literally.
Sorry.
But I know she didn't hold them
there. Yeah, no, I know. But I was just going to
say,
I love the moment because as awesome as it looks, it's also a little bit ridiculous. Like, why would you, if you're going to block very precise, lethal weapons that are going to kill you if you don't, why would you like try and accurately use planks that you're blasting into the air instead of just
when before she was just using a water shield that was frozen.
Yeah, she literally does that like in the same fight. So it was for visual flair, I guess. But and also because it's actually I like May's fighting style, but at the same time that's also writing yourself into a corner because she cannot use those because this is a kid show. So it's like she can't be too successful. You know what? She can't you with those like with this rating of a show. They can't show that kind of blood and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's weird because we said before how with the previous episode against Zuko, or the first episode rather, when Azula draws blood, she literally scratches Zuko's head and like rakes some blood off her. So it's weird that you don't see that more often with the blades and such. There must be some weird rule where you can't do it. It
doesn't make sense in America. Our rating systems don't make any sense. There's a whole documentary about like it's a bunch of moms or like random assortment of people who judge these things every 70 or something like that. Like, crazy.
What is that documentary called? It's a good one. Everyone should watch it.
It's like this film has not been rated, I believe.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Or like not yet rated or something like
that.
But yeah, there is a specific like up in arms thing when it comes to imitatable behavior, which technically is everything, by the way. But I mean, anything that they think that like a kid could like easily replicate, like grabbing a knife and like throwing it, like what he does. That's going to be like a no-no when it comes to. There's also like this weird thing. Justice League actually breaks this rule sometimes, but like there was a big like thing against you can never have a character wield a gun and shoot it into the camera like directly.
Right.
Like that's like you cannot do that unless you want to get fined. But it's like, what difference does it really make? Like, why is that the line you draw? So, it
might actually give you a sense of perspective and and why these things matter. Can't have that.
But May is like the character that they were like, she's just never going to hit anybody, so she can hit wooden planks and things instead of your skin.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but at least the actual animation and execution of her abilities is really cool. I love the kind of we said before in the previous episode about Katara's kind of ice shot dynamic motion movements. I love that, that's basically all May does with the arm jut outs thrusts. It's very cool. The execution of all of her abilities have always been really smooth and cool to look at for me. Even though she's not a favorite character, she's cool to watch visually.
Yeah. For me, the most interesting thing is the reveal of what Tylee's abilities are. Because I like the way that that's done, because Azula doesn't go, I need you on my team with your chi blocking. We can defeat any bender. Like you don't know what she can do until she does it, which I really like that kind of reveal.
Show don't tell.
And this haunts Katara. Katara doesn't. She's scared of this, like going forward. Which why wouldn't you be? And it's ironic.
It's literally the scariest thing about Book 1 of Korra. Like
oh yeah.
And it's a step further, but it's just like that whole entire thing. That's like the closest you can get to having deaths, kind of, in a franchise like this. Is like just taking things away from people.
Even though Korra goes full.
It does go full.
Yeah, but I totally get what you. Prior to that, which even in Book 1 that didn't happen, but prior to that was like the death of you was like the loss of your. Pretty much.
I think it's a loss of part of who you are as well, with the way the cultures talk about bending and the spiritual and cultural elements. This isn't just you're losing your connection to your superpower. This is a spiritual disability. I mean, obviously the chi blocking is temporary, but that's more of a physical fear because you're having a weapon taken away. But with the whole Aman thing that we'll get to later, that was very real threat.
That was another Aman theory too. He was Ty Lee. He was Ty Lee's son. He was Aang's son who learned from Ty Lee.
To be fair, that's one of the more believable ones at least.
It is. But Aman was the Snoke of before Snoke was like a thing. Like people were like Amaning so much with who is this guy?
I feel like my viewing of Avatar was so private until I started doing internet stuff about it, because everything I did about it, I never was aware of any of this.
Korra was like a phenomenon. Like I'm telling you, they were showing tweets in the actual end credits of the show on Nickelodeon of what people were saying or thinking after everything. It was such an interactive thing. It was and everyone was watching it. It was like a phenomenon.
It's only something I've become aware of since watching, because I'm like Antoine. I watched it very privately. It was only looking back over the last few years that I've seen that stuff. It's very cool.
It was great. It was as great and as terrible as that kind of fervent fandom gets. You know what I mean? You get lots of bullshit, and also there was lots of hype, so it was cool and terrible. But so and then there's the Azula versus Aang, which is
the shoot fight.
Boomy and Aang get to ride the shoots together again, just like old times. I need to talk to you. Stop for a minute. I love the fight. It's very cool I like again the equal balance between. We've had so many Aang versus a lot of Aang versus Zuko matches. This is the first with Azula, and it's a really cool one. It's she doesn't quite get the chance to reveal her how much of a threat she is, which is why I buy Aang not kind of fully registering her as much as he has Zuko at this point. But at the same time,
even with the blue flames that she hits, I don't even know if he really recognized it, because he just shot himself right in the air to Boomy. So even though she shot out blue flames, he never had a moment of what kind of flames are those kind of situation. And most of the stuff she does is pretty defensive, because she's giving chase, her smashing of her hands and just letting the air go past her, that kind of thing. So she's not doing anything super super crazy offensive. So when they do a fight again, which I believe is not until the drill episode,
it's the chase, isn't it?
No, it's the chase. It's chase and then it's the drill.
Yeah, but I agree. It's and I like the fact that this particular scene establishes that while she's still a threat, it makes sense that Aang isn't registering that properly at this point. It's just another firebender threat, because her specific skill doesn't get a chance to kind of really shine given the context. She's realistically limited here. So that when she comes in for the proper introduction to the gang as a threat in the chase, we can fully buy into that, rather than just we've already met this person. Why is this now the introduction? And I like the way they've done it.
Anyway, she gets cut short because Boomy chins up. Or whatever.
Literally chins up.
And it's which is cool that he can do that, but I feel like he should have just done that at the beginning. But anyway, we couldn't have the fun, crazy chase scene if he didn't do that. And this is where we get to your favorite scene, where he explains himself to Aang.
Yes, yeah.
Or not.
Ang, you have to stop because I have to explain this ridiculous concept that makes absolutely no sense in the context in which I'm using it. My problem with this is he's a king. He has a responsibility to his people and to his city and to his nation, which he is just throwing out the window for the sake of this really out of the way rationale. Like in a specific one-on-one fight, I can kind of see what he's thinking about.
Right,
where it's coming from.
That's where it stems from, and that's why it makes sense for when you see Toph later, like doing that.
Why
and
it
like,
applies to her.
Okay, someone who waits and listens, like, and especially for her because of her special abilities. But then, in the context of like big battle, I'm protecting Omashu kind of situation, and also not really telling anyone like what his. Or that he really has no plan, it's kind of ridiculous.
He basically commits treason against his people at this point. He's like, but you can just live under the yoke of the Fire Nation for however many months it takes for something to come along that makes this easy for me to defeat. He could have beaten them. There is no way they had a force strong enough to take Omashu out, given the context we're provided. So why didn't he just do that? Why didn't he just take the fight, take the siege, and beat them back, as Omashu is supposedly have done, a long time? If it has been attacked before, we can assume it has been attacked at some point before. Otherwise, it wouldn't be known as this great bastion that's always survived, because it would have just been a lucky city.
It's connected by drawbridges too.
Yeah,
so
it's extremely defendable, and it's made of earth. Yeah. This is the not going to be an easy city to take from this point forward, and they just don't do that. He just give up. My city can suffer because I don't know because
I have an explanation.
Yeah,
Boomy is a seer.
I mean,
right?
Sure, but even then,
right?
he could, if you can beat them without the eclipse.
I think more likely is he just once talked to Aunt Wu, and she was like,
and she said, yes, when the Fire Nation shows to your doorstep, you should lay down arms. And he's like,
she was like,
okay.
Just keep an eye on the heavens. And you'll get a sign. The eclipse. That's what I've been waiting for.
But the thing is, there's no master plan.
That like 50 years ago.
But there's no master plan to this. The summation of this situation is he gets Omashu back. Why not just not lose it in the first place, Boomy? His population has to leave the city. By force. What is this?
For my money, it really would have been better if he was just holed up here fighting the war off camera the whole time and like, Aang, you have to get out because you're drawing too much attention onto my city.
Completely agree.
Because I can buy that they would lose if the Fire Nation sent like everyone like to this, like especially because they have the Avatar there now too.
Yeah, but it would take that. It would take that many, that much of a commitment for them.
If nothing else, we've already established. Omashu should be close to the Fire Nation, right?
It's relatively close
compared to Boston.
So it's like
they
can't still be standing 100 years after if they were easy to take. So it's like there's no reason why he should just surrender. There isn't a reason. Like when you look at like screenwriting, sometimes you go like the character does this for some reason. In reality, it's really they do it for no reason, and that's bad writing.
It's always irked me because you're a king, act like it. Theoden. Saruman, just take over Edoras, it's fine. That's a good example. That's a good example, actually. Theoden's decision to lead the people of Rohan to Helm's Deep rather than attacking outright on the plains. That is a mistake, but it's a believable one given the context and his current situation, his current mentality, and where he is in his life. It fits that, despite being a mistake. Boomy's is just, it doesn't. It's like, let's just give up. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, he does it because Boomy, and because plot needs him to. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I do not blame the captain for his derision of him at the start. But anyway, that's just my piece on that one. That always bugged me in the episode.
But the Jing's thing, I am curious though what his other 82 versions of that. Yeah. Like I kind of do want to know what he's talking about, but in a very niche kind of way.
It's probably got like a Venn diagram kind of a thing. Like it's like a spectrum instead of it just being like just
82 or 85
modes.
is a lot. Yeah,
it's got to be spectrums in between all
if
those.
If this, do this. If that, do this. Yeah. Various overlaps.
They actually could work like sort of shatter pointy, like that sort of fits like an earthbender like him sort of way, like all these things splintering and interlocking. Be onto something. Like it might not just it comes off like it's just supposed to be a joke, but I think that actually could be a thing.
Yeah, it would be funny and match his own eccentric crazy approach. It makes sense why he's a bit mental if he's got to think about all of this at the same time.
Oh wow, someone actually has listed it on Reddit. That's crazy. There's control gene, uncontrolled gene, evasive gene, direct gene, prepared gene, unprepared, water,
85?
earth, fire,
There are
air.
actually 85.
Goes all the way to 85,
lot.
but then it gets to like BS territory because it says Iroh gene, which is being a wise badass dedicated to
I'm
be
not-
a
that's
favorite
just-
character
yeah,
of all
that's
time.
just
You know what I mean?
humor.
Like what?
Yeah, like you
I
have
thought it
me
was
for a
actually a
moment.
thing
Yeah.
then. I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
the
what?
first
You
few
have
are
me
like
for a
kind of makes
moment.
sense. Like when you combat your enemy directly, when you know a battle will be upon you, when you are unaware that a battle will be upon you. Like that stuff.
It's just gonna get. That's just
They're
gonna
just
get
derisions of
okay,
negative and positive.
Do
anyway.
Irohing, now you're Zukoing, now you're Unalocking, now you're Coring. It's like fuck off, like with that. Like I don't need all that.
But yeah. Anyway, the gang leave. Aang is told that he needs to find his teacher that will wait and listen before striking. Setting up directly, obviously, the Toph introduction. They head off. And Bumi returns to captivity.
I'm just gonna say that actually fits Antoine, which I know he's joking, right? I believe he is anyway.
What, the seer?
Yeah, that kind of fits the seer thing,
Yeah.
where he's like, "You must find Toph."
Yes.
Like he just knows it's gonna happen somehow. But
and yet still calls himself the greatest earthbender in the world in the first season. It's like, no.
yeah, he doesn't know specifically about Toph. He just. It would be funny though if he could feel that someone is out there that's better than him, like through the earth. He could feel that. That would be kind of cool.
Just
I think that's actually
him.
kind of awesome.
Yeah,
He just
that is
knows
cool.
Yeah.
Another presence on the grand earth. But yeah, small elite team sets off from now New Ozai, which is just delicious.
It's a little funny that like this to me is like the villain at the end of the episode line. Like it's not just about my brother and like Iroh anymore. Like we have another target. It's like, wouldn't you anyway though? He's the Avatar.
Yeah, and also she wasn't told to do that, so this is her actually on her own initiative, which you would have thought would have come up before now.
But it is like
it took her actively seeing.
Father would be pleased
if
she still did that.
Right. Like imagine a scenario where she just brings Zuko home and was like, I had a chance to get the Avatar, but I didn't. But I have Zuko, and he'd be like,
Ozai would have been like,
fuck you. Like,
blast her across the room.
Like, you're grounded. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of. Oh yeah, and they give the baby back to May's parents.
Yes. Tom, who is as adorable in this scene as he has been throughout. Mini Jack.
The only reason they do that is because if they neglected to, people would be like, "What happened to the baby?" Like
they kidnapped him and raised him as an Earthbender or Earth Nationer. Earth Kingdomer? I think I had this problem last episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Earth Kingdomer, I think, is the best one.
That can't be it, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's like there's no name for us Britons. We're Britons, even though Northern Ireland isn't on Britain. There's no United Kingdom name.
Kingdom sounds terrible. Like that can't be a thing. But an Earth Kingdom subject.
Yeah.
Citizen. I don't.
Person. Earthling.
I don't know. Anyway,
that has been our very disjointed opinions on the return to Omashu.
I have no idea what this episode's going to be in post because we had like a hell of an aside earlier that had nothing to do with this episode. But
look forward to that later in the series if it doesn't come up though.
At some point. Yeah,
it will come up again.
You need to keep the original footage just to show my confusion and like dawning comprehension of what he meant.
Like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah. Because I thought he was way off base at first. I did not know what he was talking. Like the fight's still going, but okay. Anyway, it makes sense to me. But anyway, you guys will just keep that a mystery. You don't know what we're talking about.
You will.
Signing off.
You will. Yes, I'm Rocky 4, and I still don't have an outro. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, right. Okay, and I'm Graded91, and I'm signing off too. Goodbye.
Antoine Banalay, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.
Goodbye.